Hello, welcome back, FOF. We are here again. It is Team HBK versus YUMI Basic Income, the battle of the best, some of the best teams we have in our league right now. The King Pro Loop taking his boys against YUMI, who have been astounding since they've entered the league. But there are some substitutions today, and once again, I am here with Lola.
Yes, Surfound.
Is it Lola Bunny?
No, it's not. It's not Lola. We'll get into that later. Okay, so HBK, UB, as you said, these are two of the, well, UB, the leading team in the league. HBK sitting there in joint second at the moment. HBK, I was speaking to the players before the game. They feel like they've got this. They think they can topple YUMI and, you know, contend for first tier. And it will be very interesting to see what happened. Of course, YUMI sadly losing Jeff God Gamer as their ADC recently because he's unable to play, unfortunately. And we're all wishing him a very speedy recovery. HBK did say to me that, their team, that they do want him to come back as quickly as possible so they can beat this team at full strength. So at the moment, we are going to be seeing, as you said, some substitutions. But Utility Monster did mention to me that, you know, Chunks is someone they're very, very comfortable with. They played a lot with him previously. So we are going to be seeing a strong roster coming out from them as well. So let's get into the bans.
Absolutely. Already some really common bans that we see in FOS. Amumu being taken away, Annie and Ash, and then we have Nico, Camille, and Jarvan. Sad we won't be seeing Jarvan the Fourth come in. He's one of the best junglers in the game right now. He's been really undervalued in FOS, and we're kind of waiting for him to return. With a first pick of a Galio Hover. This would be an interesting first pick because Galio isn't typically seen very often anymore.
No, but HBK, actually, this isn't the first time that they have gone for the Galio first pick. They do very much like this champion. They're quite happy to flex it between mid and support, I think. And they have previously gone for the massive wombo combo setup with the Camille, the J4, and the Galio all combined, of course, just, you know, permanently jumping on a target. So not surprised to see UB ban out those other two champions and deny that kind of setup that HBK might have been looking for. They're going to be picking a Shen into it. One thing that I do notice that they haven't banned out UB, which obviously they've only got 3 bans to work with, is the LeBlanc, which, I mean, HBK isn't playing this game, so that does make it more sense. But this team have done a lot of work with LeBlanc thus far, so they're not going to be taking that off the board. Instead, the Nico, and we are going to be seeing some setup with a lot of CC to try to deny whatever kind of jump in kind of big wombo combo setup that H Block have gone for previously. So the Leona Strumpet for Brian Sang, very proficient on this champion. And the Shen, we didn't see it. We saw it do exactly what it needed to the previous game. So this at the moment in the league is definitely, it's a strong first pick. I do respect it. It does allow them to sort of set up a nice, global pressure comp and lots of side lane potential.
Absolutely, UB sticking to their guns. This is something very typical of them too. They pick heavy CC, they play around dragon setups, and really index onto their mid and AD carry to get a lot of damage out and make team fights very untenable. But Team H Block going for a different type of Galio setup with Nocturne already being selected, 2 globals already in the game, and dear God, the Donger has returned. He is back with a kind of an early shout out to Arcana that we will be seeing Heimerdinger showing up.
Yes, absolutely. This isn't the first time we've seen H Block go for this in the bot lane. We have seen a Donga Singe lane previously from them, which I'll be surprised if we see it again, but I am quite, I'm quite interested to see this champion come out, and I'm also particularly interested to see where they put it, whether they do decide to send it into the bot lane again. I will note, by the way, that I was wrong previously. Spears is H Block. He's changed his name, so thank you very much to the chat for noting that to me. That's my bad intel there. But instead, we are going to see Nocturne being particularly denied from Utility Monster, I think, who is very, very proficient on this champion. And of course, it does allow for a nice setup with the Nocturne jumping onto a target and the Galio following up. On the other side, Chunks picking up Ezreal, very strong. This is immediately setting up for a very nice bot lane that can get itself a lot of priority, win 2v2s very, have a lot of good strength in 2v2s. So as we move into the second stage, we do see Zed being taken off the board. And the Nocturne's been picked up. Obviously, this champion is, at the moment, a bit of a... It's a very interesting take, of course, because he's got a lot of strengths in the jungle, which he didn't have previously since the last couple of patches. So it is a potential flex pick. I mean, we don't see him very often in mid anymore, but I don't deny them from taking that off the board. Although with a Nocturne already picked up, it does deny a little bit of that flexibility unless they do want to send that Nocturne into a solo lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And okay, yep. Sorry about that. Riot has previously stated that they do want to move the assassins out of the jungle. That's why you've been seeing a lot of the trajectory for Talon, Zed, Kiana, all these champions that were typically mid laners to go into jungle. For some reason, they think that jungle is a more suitable role for assassins.
Yeah,
I'm sure the majority of AD carry players would hard disagree, but it does have some champions who aren't typically as viable into the game being able to show up a little bit differently. We don't want another menace like Diana, but yep, Zed is taken away. Team H Block, it's gonna be interesting what they're gonna have to go for, because they kind of draft themselves into a weird position because they picked a lot of dive with the Galio and Nocturne, but Heimerdinger doesn't want to dive, and you're trying to dive onto Ezreal, who's very difficult to kill even if you do land everything on him. So really difficult to see where their composition is going to be kind of indexing towards, because they've picked a little off theme for where their damage is gonna come out from and where their utility is coming from.
And just to note, of course, that the mid lane is still a bit of a question mark for H Block right now, because one thing we should note here is that the roles are slightly skewed on the side of H Block. Spears, aka formerly H Block, is going to be in the mid lane, so I am not surprised at all to be seeing UB taking that LeBlanc away at the last point. I was not surprised. I was still surprised to not see it picked up previously, but it does look like they're going to be going for a Vayne here. I'm not sure if we've seen this from Tokyo Tree previously. We've certainly seen him do some work on Ezreal and I think Ziggs, but this is an interesting one. Of course, there is a lot of nice peel from the Galio, but again, I mean, if they can create space in fights, I do, as you said before, the Vayne, the Heimerdinger wanting to be around the outside of fights, putting in damage as best they can. So, I mean, this team, I think you're right, Found. I think it's trying to do slightly different things, this H Block draft we've got right now. And on the flip side, we have quite, I think, an obvious thing set up with the draft from Yubi already, where all of these champions, the Shen, the Leona, the Zac, are just going to want to be jumping on people, and the Ezreal being able to, provide as much damage from the sidelines. And we are seeing a Corki last pick. Utility Monster has stated previously that Civillock is the only player in the league who is able to get a good package off. So,
Yes.
if he's able to follow that up previously, we have seen some pretty solid Corki performances in the league and some very dire ones so far. So I like their confidence in taking this pick into the Syndra, but we'll have to see if it pays out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this is going to be game 2. We're going to get into it right away. HBK versus Team UB. Now, I did want to provide some context for people who have not seen Corki as often. He is still one of the highest ability power threat champions into the game. He's one of the very few champions that offers sustained AP damage. His auto attacks are 80% AP and 20% AD, so the mixed damage is quite heavy on him. And honestly, he is very good into other AP mages like this Syndra. So I'm not super upset that they took it, but he is a kind of a difficult champion to pilot in the mid game because he doesn't have some of the strongest push patterns until he hits level 6. So one definitely interesting champion to see. The package is really dangerous this game. You don't really want to package onto any of these champions, so it's going to be interesting to see where he's going to find himself useful, and if Vayne is going to be able to find any avenue of recourse in these team fights. Because who do you really hit in these fights when if Brian Zhang is onto your CC, if Utility Monster is onto there, you're most likely going to be getting disrupted. And now you have to kill somebody with Shinda coming over the top. So this is going to be very difficult for Vayne to get a lot of damage out.
I do agree. I think that the UB draft has a very clear idea of what it wants to do. Of course, even if Civillock does go in for a nice package, he does have the Stand United available when they get into the later team fights to keep him alive once he's fully engaged. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, H-Block are definitely prepared for this. And one thing I will add is that having spoken to them, they do consider themselves to have a bit of a champ ocean themselves. And they did say they might be pulling out some slightly... unconventional picks such as a Heimerdinger top lane. They didn't mention that specifically, but I'm not super surprised to see it coming out here. So I think they're confident. I'm just interested to see how they can pull this off.
Yeah, really interesting to see. If you notice in the top lane, Heimerdinger is not going for the push, trying to have a very safe lane. Has very safe and conservative tower placements. Most of these lanes should be quite conservative, as Pro Lupo is going to get stunned up. Brian Zhang is going to find it, ignites down too much damage onto Galio as the flash comes through and the auto is there. As just when I was saying this game should be quite slow, Brian Zhang picks up the first blood.
And I mean, the moment Leona gets level 2, there is absolutely no hesitation whatsoever. And Brian Zhang, a very aggressive support main. He does like to go in immediately on level 2, and no mistake there. He's picked precisely the champion to do it on, and that was pretty textbook. Just get the engage, soak all of the damage, the ignite everything onto the Galio, and down he goes. So immediate early advantage for UB in the bot side. And he's going in again.
Flash forced out though, and a lot of damage onto Brian Zhang. He doesn't have flash available. Autos are coming out, and the ignite is also there. A flash could still come out from the side of Tokyo, but Mr. Chunks is going to do a fantastic job zoning and protecting his support from getting that lethal damage out. And this is a lot of trading in this bot side already. A lot of summoner spells used, and this is just going to attract those junglers who are on opposite side of the max. But Zac is here, and he will be coming around when Leona is heading back from that base.
Yes, and we do see now Jido getting a push off now that he has, he knows that the jungler is nowhere near. He's fairly safe in the lane. He's able to go and get some priority for his jungler and potentially get a reset off should he wish, or just continue to scale up. On the other side, I mean, as you said, Utility Monster, he is hovering here. And whilst Vayne isn't the strongest laner early level, she does still have a lot of damage output if she's able to get off at least 3 autos. So they do have to be a little bit careful, and I think instead Chunks is going to be potentially looking to get himself a base and just get it, just not commit too heavily when he is aware that his jungler is on the other side of the map, and there is the potential for Utility to come in and make this a pretty dangerous situation for them.
Yep. Jitta really smart off his part, conserving a push. Now he's trying to aggressively get these towers into the wave, but Shen is not getting punched just yet. Freelancer doing a good job maintaining his CS under the tower, but at least when it comes to the action, as this is going to be the first gank into the mid lane, but this is two people roaming down. Prolupa was here, double stun landed, a bunch of damage. Civillock is going to be forced to fax out, but Utility Monster is not going to do so, so his passive is going to be procced. And who are they going to give this kill over to? It should most likely go to the Syndra, as the last auto is going to come
Yeah.
through. And formerly HBK, now Spears picks up his first kill of the game.
Yeah, and a pretty big overextension there from the side of UB. They do try to go in and get the gank off onto Spears, but fantastic scout of the week, another fantastic scout of the week just there. And yeah, this is Civlock's gonna have to be careful. He does have Brian Zhang hovering, as we see a
Brian
bit
Zhang
up in
is
the top.
there. The directed camera is trolling us. What is going on in this mid lane? This is what we want to see.
Well, he's backing off anyway. It does look like yeah, I mean, I don't think there's lethal damage there at the moment. Of course, the Syndra does have TP. She has Phase Rush, so she doesn't have massive amounts of burst damage early, but she's going to be able to get a push in. Never mind. Yeah, no, not quite enough there, as you see. No Ignite, no Electrocute, nothing like that. But it is going to force an early base out from Civillock. And from that previous kill or previous exchange they had, he doesn't have TP, so this is going to be a bad base and an easy crash for Spears, who does still have his. So you know, already a lot of resource, a lot of acceleration onto the Syndra right now, who's going to be a pretty dangerous threat in these mid to late game fights, particularly when you are up against a comp who want to dive in. The Scat of the Week going to be providing a lot of disengage value.
Absolutely, and I do like to give credit to some of these players when they do things that are extremely good, something that would usually go unnoticed. So if you notice, Spears is not only winning lane, but he is doing so. He has not used his TP. He's forced Corki to take 2 bad recalls in a row, and frankly, in this type of matchup, with the teleport advantage going to be available, this could do something to punish the bot side, punish the top side. You now have plenty of options. Level 6 is coming through for Spears early, so fantastic play as he's going to get another stun onto Civillock.
Yeah, absolutely. And Civlock's got to be careful. He is still walking up in the lane, but I'll be honest, I've seen this quite a few times from Corkies playing in FOF thus far, is that they just don't put quite enough respect. The champ has a lot of good push, but walking up into the middle of the lane, you're a very, very easy target for gank potential. And Idris, he's not far off 6, so once he gets there, then you're going to have to be hugging your tower for dear life if you are this Corki right now, unless Utility Monster is in the area, or Brian Sang.
Yeah, the CC chain is quite real. If you get stunned with the Scatter Weak, then you will most likely be feared by Nocturne, and that will be all she wrote on that end. But it also is doing a quite good job, as a double stun has also landed. Utility Monster does still have Flash Away, and he's going to be forced to use it. Level 6 coming through first onto the Zac, though, so good on the farming from the side of Utility Monster to have that occur. But yeah, another set of resources burned out in this mid lane.
Yeah, and we're going to see a push now from the side of UB. The bot lane has been very much there so far.
Here's another stun.
Yeah, another big stun. This damage is mounting up. She's gone for those. That's a kill?
Oh my god, that's just the kill going. Flash coming through, but there's not enough. They're just taking towers. He's just going to give over a free kill to Civillock. As now a stun in this bot lane, Tokyo is going to take a bunch of damage. Galio on the back end. Teleports are available, so this fight can become big. Brian Zhang forced to walk away. Knockup is available, but the autos are there. 3 proc in is all she wrote. Mr. Chunks forced to flash away.
Oh.
E-flash not landing onto the wall. Good try for the mechanic, but wasn't all there.
No, if he'd gotten that condemn off, that most likely would have been a kill, but I mean, the Vayne's picked herself a kill up on the board, and we did say, you know, a lot of early 2v2 potential for this Ezreal Leona, but
here's the package. Utility Monster's just going to get ulted and die, but the slow is there, and Civillock is finding it, but the last thing, and that's going to be the burn as Corki picks up the kill.
Okay, and this Corki's now online. This is a problem. Civillock, we go back to that dive from Idris, which has just really given him a window back into this mid lane, along with that secondary kill, which, I mean, Utility, it was a 1-for-1, but this really goes in his favor. Spears does still have TP. We see it used right there, and yeah, Civillock has got to be careful.
Done, though.
Yeah,
ultimate used, but disrupted on the top side from the Corki. But yeah, that's a big cooldown gone for nothing.
Yeah, it is, and I mean, the priority is still here for the Syndra. She's got her support and her jungler hovering relatively close. I mean, Prolupa is going to take a base off now. But either way, just going back to this bot lane, as I was saying previously, we do see very, very scary 2v2 from this Ezreal Leona. But I mean, the thing is about Vayne, if Vayne doesn't get completely shut down in lane, then if you let her scale, that's a bit of a problem right there. And funnily enough, it was Utility Monster talking about this on the lounge, the most recent episode of The Lounge. She was saying, look, if you're playing, against a strong team or a team you think may be stronger on paper, one of the things you can do is just pick a lot of scaling, pick something weird, just try to make the variables. Hang on. Nah, okay. Try to make the variables as much in your favor as possible. And something like a Vayne is great for this because you can never count a Vayne out. Like, she's always going to scale up and become a damage threat later in the game. And this Vayne is even, if not slightly ahead of the Ezreal right now. So again, looking really nice still for the side of HBK.
Here we go. Stun's gonna land, not gonna land, but ultimate is gonna be there. Fear is also gonna follow up. Bunch of damage onto this quirky Civillock, taking a lot in return. Last Q isn't gonna come out for Idris, for Spears rather, and now this is a big turn around. There is still a flash onto the Syndra, who is gonna save it. Balls of Seal from the side of Spears, continuing to not use that summoner spell, even though a lot of pressure is going through, and that's gonna be that flash, and Civillock is gonna make it out off the skin of his teeth. And now Utility Monster trying his best to get in this, but he's taking the tower. There's no way you're gonna live. He's gonna give over a free kill, taking a bunch of healing. Now Galio ultimate is here, but his Utility Monster not gonna burn down. Really aggressive, but he has not dropped.
And a little bit of a mistake there for ProLupo there, who was just a little bit worried that Utility might be able to turn that. I think he might have been able to cut him off, actually, but gave him a window there to get out. And amazingly, no one died there, I think, actually, in that mid-exchange, which was both sides just being a little bit over-aggressive under turret. And no one's particularly tanky yet on either of these sides, so the turret dives, they're not quite there thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. Civillock is stacking his lucky sides. This man has committed a bunch of mid lane sins and somehow has not died. The screen is frozen, but a gank is coming through. That is going to be Brian Zhang picking up Tokyo Tree. The fight is continuing, and that fight is on everywhere as that's going to be Jitta dropping the side top side. Brian Zhang is not going to live. His life is going to be ended. Mr. Chunk is going to get flashed on. He's going to get knocked up, and he's going to be going into Chunks as Nocturne picks up his second kill.
Ooh, and that is so nice for HBK right now. They're going to be able to get the push into the bot side, and they are going to be able to potentially rotate over to this Cow Drake should they wish, although a little bit tricky. We might see a pause come out now if Tokyo Tree is disconnected, we'll see. But either way, this Dragon, a lot of priority right now for HBK. However, of course, Civillock is pushing in the mid lane, so they're not going to go for it just yet, knowing that there is all of that prior there. Instead, they're going to give Spears time to reset the wave. And on the flip side, it does look like Utility Monster, he's going to be up for it on his Krugs and potentially moving around to try to do something about this Heimerdinger.
Here we go. ProLupo kind of meandering around into this river. Needs to be concerned. Brian Zhang coming out, who's going to instantly clear the wards that he did just place.
Ooh, okay, never mind. We're just going to see a little bit of vision cleared. There is a lot of tension going around on the bot side right now. We've got a lot of members down there. We do have, crucially, we do see a base now coming out from ProLupo, and the hero's entrance is not online just yet, so he's going to have to walk back as quickly as possible just to make sure that nothing happens too soon. But it doesn't look like anyone's going to be pulling the trigger just yet. Instead, Chunks and Brian Zhang, they're going to be trying to get another push in the bot side. We're just going to be seeing these junglers trying to just continue to clear camps and potentially just wait for the other side to slip up, because particularly on the side of HBK right now, we have the Paranoia is online, and the hero's entrance is coming up fairly soon. So if something happens, if we do see, as we see, a lot of vision coming down for the side of UB in the river, but if they do try to get the engage off now, then they could be jumped on very, very quickly. So they've got to be careful.
Yep, and Jitta is going to be in trouble, but the knockup isn't going to land. Too much damage coming out to Jitta, but a lot of follow-up. Freelancer's taking way too much. He might be the first one to drop. Utility Monster is going to flash Jin. Q's not going to land, and passive is down. Jitta has survived it. Is he going to pick up this kill, though? It's going to be quite close. The knockup is going to be available as soon as in the very end of it. Jitta did pick up a 2v1, and I'm seeing how this Heimerdinger is getting a massive amount of value, unkillable, and he just kept this shit under the tower.
And just win-win there for the side of HBK, as we did see Utility Monster go up and try to do something about this Heimerdinger, but ultimately so much damage coming in, and he was able to kite that out, force the base from the Shen, who does have TP, so he's going to be able to pick up some plates, but not linger too long. But yeah, really, really great for Vegeta. And other side, it allows for a cross map from the other members of HBK to be able to pick up that Drake. So,
Oh, that's going to be the package in. A bunch of damage coming out from Civillock. The ultimate is going to be available, and that's going to be the R coming in. The fight is continuing. Flash out from the side of Civillock, who's going to make sure he lives. Mr. Chunks is going to be getting his Arcane Fist away. Brian Zhang has flashed in onto the Vayne, but he hasn't found anything, so the knockups are coming through. The Kite is here, and one more proc, one more auto. Prolupo picks it up. Mr. Chunks is going to be in trouble. Taunt's going to be available. Force the flash out for Mr. Chunks as a 2v2 kill comes over, and these bot lanes have been fighting constantly.
They really have, yeah. And funnily enough, I mean, Chunks, utility monster, he's coming in.
Oh, he's here. He's going for it. A knock away from the side of the Vayne. Teleport is now coming in. Prolupo is still living, though. Utility monster just doesn't have enough damage. That's one going to be Prolupo walking out. Last Q doesn't land. Another kill given over to Tokyo Tree. And now Jitta picks up a solo kill.
Oh my goodness. And utility monster there immediately diving in. He did not have his passive available.
Civillock was spotted. A bunch of damage. Is that going to be it? Oh, jeez, this is just fighting.
Yeah, that scatter might have killed him, actually. That was very, very close. And I mean, Space is going to have to go and reset the wave at some point, but he looks like he's actually going to be seriously aggressing up here, trying to stop this back from the Corki. And there's not too much that UB can do about this right now. They managed to get a push off, but this Syndra, she's got all the resources available to her. She has flash. They don't want to mess with her right now, and it's getting worse and worse for the side of UB right now. The gold lead now about just under 3.5K now. They have priority in top lane for days and mid lane as well. So really tough for them at the moment. This Heimerdinger, a real problem they're going to have to do something about because he's being allowed to play his game the entire time thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm usually a really big hater of the Heimerdinger because he's very binary in what he does in the game, but he's done a fantastic job laning. Played the early game safe, dodged the first gank without getting any pressure, and then after that, he's just kept Freelancer under his tower, and if Freelancer ever leaves, he loses so much. So well done from the side of Jitta, having a fantastic game so far, as now this is Spears who's unable to dodge the R, but then the fight continues. Where's Nocturne ultimate, though? The ultimate is used, but it looks like he's choosing to not go any further.
No, so that's a cooldown gone. I mean, it isn't the longest of cooldowns, but either way, as you said, I like that you brought that up. The Freelancer, unfortunately, what we do want to see is a Shen being able to go and set up a numbers advantage, but he's being constantly pushed by, whether it be by Tokyo Tree or by Jitta. So he's just not able to. He's going to be giving up a cross map and a turret if he does go and try to set up a numbers advantage. So yeah, HBK doing a really good job of locking down this threat from the Shen.
Absolutely, and if any survivability comes through on the side of this Heimerdinger, Shen and Zach are one of the lowest damage 2v1s in the game. It's very difficult for them to kill people unless Zach is massively far ahead, and Utility Monster is not that, as he is going to be getting caught out. Knockup isn't going to land, so really good blast cone onto the Zach, getting himself away. But that does force out his, I believe it's called Courage of the Collapse, Aftershock app rather. Sorry, old school, his Aftershock. So that's going to be gone at least.
Yeah, but as you can see, poor Utility Monster doesn't have much jungle left to his name because it's all the property.
Brian Zhang is trying to do this. Is there going to be enough CC landed? A bunch of damage. Brian Zhang, Jitta is doing his best to cut it out. So much damage comes into return onto the Leona as 3 people are here for Jitta's life. But Brian Zhang's still tanking. He's burning. He might take that last minion. Is going to finish it as Jitta grabs the kill.
Oh my goodness, they're allowing this Heimerdinger to get away with murder right now. He is going to be forced off of the tower by Chunks and Utility and Civillock. In fact, 4 members committing now to trying to shut down this Heimerdinger, which is just allowing HBK in the mid and top bot, excuse me.
Oh, here we go.
Fight it.
That's going to be Prolupo finding the pick. A bunch of damage onto this Corki. Corki's going to give up a shutdown to Jitta. He's going to find it. Now Utility Monster is trying his best to get away. Flash is still available. CC is going to be coming up. Knockup's going to interrupt the Elastic Slingshot. The Fear is going to be coming through in just a moment, but the Shen shield is burned through also. Shen ultimate once again used for absolutely nothing. And Jitta is just putting in work. This man is unstoppable so far.
Yeah, and great work from Tokyo Tree over in the bot side, denying that stand united by condemning him, I would assume. So he's really not been allowed to do anything, poor Freelancer, in this game thus far. And yeah, the top side of UB, as you mentioned previously, they are utility-focused champions. They're tanks. They do not do a lot of damage. We are seeing Freelancer trying desperately to move his way towards a a Titanic Hydra Rush, which I've done before on Shen. It does do quite a lot of damage. It does make the clear a bit better, but which means he might not get locked under tower quite as much, but it's not really what you want to be seeing. You know, it's he wants to be getting in and trying to, you know, tank up and soak as much damage as possible. And against this comp with a Heimerdinger this, you know, aggressively accelerated, who's moving towards, I assume, a Demonic Embrace as a second item, he'll get melted through fairly quickly. All of these members will.
Yeah, he's massively far behind. Even when that Titanic Hydra comes in, which it does now just come in, he's so far away from a Mythic, which is his big power spike. And there's no way Yubi's gonna try this again. And it looks like they are. Brian Zhang is gonna find an ultimate use a bunch of damage onto Jitta, but that's gonna be the ultimate tower coming in. And Brian Zhang's tanking up everything. Nocturne ultimate comes up, forces the flash from Brian Zhang. And even though Nocturne is nowhere close, Intelligent ultimate forces them away and projects Jigga's shutdown. But yeah, once again, continuing to go onto this Heimerdinger, especially with an Ezreal whose Qs get body blocked by towers, that just can't be the answer.
It is, yeah, and this Trinity Force Ezreal, I mean, it does make sense against this comp, of course. There isn't an awful lot of tank there between... I mean, the Nocturne is building a Stride Breaker. As we know, it's still an incredibly strong synergizing item with Nocturne's kit, but we can see the Baron just being taken now, and...
Yeah, here we go. Early Baron. Vayne does a massive amount of damage. One of the faster Baron tankers, 180 carry. They do know a recall has come out for Heimerdinger, who is one of the faster takers. Brian Zhang is going to spot this out, so a ward is going to go down. Now the pings are coming through, but it's already 4,000 HP. There's a lot of people who are quite far away. Teleports are coming in. They are choosing to go for this. This is going to be the Smite fight. That's going to be Freelancer landing the taunt. The fight is now on. A bunch of damage onto his backline. Tokyo Tree is going to get the ultimate. Utility Monster is going to get the steal. Smite it away. A bunch of gold given over. Civillock is going to find Idris on the backline, so that is going to be a shutdown. The fight is continuing on. Yubi once again is getting away with murder with an over-aggressive play from H-Block, giving them so much gold and a Baron steal.
Oh my goodness, and H-Block just a little bit too overconfident there with the, as you said, Vayne, she does melt Barons fairly quickly, but with this shield bow first item, which does make a lot of sense, into the Phantom Dancer, she does not do the same kind of insane damage numbers we might see from a slightly more shred focused build. So they just weren't able to burst down the Baron in time, and great stuff from Utility Monster. We do know that Zach is very good at stealing Barons with his ability to jump into or even over the pit. So Utility Monster said, all right, I'll check you on the Baron. And yeah, the more experienced jungler did win out there. Idris, of course, we should mention, is a new switch to jungle. He's not played it at all since the beginning of the league, but he's doing a very good job on it, but that was a little bit too much to ask for, I think, in that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that Yubi has done is they've created their own little SKT effect, where it doesn't really matter, as Spears is going to get a decent trade, where it doesn't matter how far behind it gets. Teams feel so pressured because they feel like Yubi can always come back that they just make over-aggressive plays and then often give Yubi that back into the game. And it's frankly, H-Block was so far ahead, giving over so much gold was just unnecessary. A 20-minute Baron, you can just wait until Heimerdinger is there. Heimerdinger on a Baron with towers up is a 5-second endeavor, but just too aggressive, and just this punish is going to be quite heavy, especially if this mid tower drops.
Yeah, and this is really even up the game, which we are very excited to see. We want to see this to be
ultimate in. Tokyo Tree is going to be getting that condemn away from Leona, so nothing further is going to be happening onto that end. Poke still landing from Civillock, so this three-man core cannot handle this push as they are continuing to get pushed out. Stun lands onto Civillock. He's taking the tower. A bunch of damage. That's going to be the package forced away. Ultimate from Tokyo Tree getting the damage out. Brian Zhang is going to be forced to back away, but a EQ combo puts Vayne to a third, and that will be the end of the fight. No re-engage that came out, but once again, you now see Jiva, who's using that ultimate to really melt through this tower.
Yeah, absolutely. He's still being allowed to split push up in the top side. We are seeing, I mean, the gold has stabilized a little bit. It is still just under a 2k gold lead for the side of HBK, but yeah, a lot of gold managed to, and priority managed to pick up by Yubi from that Baron power play that's still going. And they did go for the dive, even through, it was slowed down by the paranoia there. Crucially, you know, Tokyo Tree was trying to come back in for the re-engage with all that damage, but now we should note that Chunks, he's got his Muramana online, that huge damage spike, so those Mystic shots now are going to start doing a lot of damage, and HBK, they can't be quite as confident just to dive in without making sure that they have all of the setup available.
Oh, Tokyo Tree is taking a bunch of damage. Package over the top. Now this is Civillock on the backline by himself so far. That's going to be Shen following up. The flash out from Tokyo Tree. He is going to manage to live a bit longer. Idris is now in the backline taking as much damage as he can, but he is not going to be lasting much longer. Brian Zhang gets the stun, but this Leona's taking way too much. The auto comes out and Idris finds it. Brian Zhang drops. Now Civillock is in trouble. The damage is coming through. Yubi is turning this on the back end though. Tokyo Tree's trying to get the autos down. The stun is here on the backline, and this is everyone dropping as an ace picked up from H Block where they found everyone.
They did, and they're going to be able to pick themselves up a soul point on the top of this as well. And it really did look for it looked pretty all right for the side of Yubi right there. Idris going in and getting bursted down fairly quickly, trying to get onto Mr. Chunks, but he was able to arcane shift away. But they lingered just too long inside that choke point in the jungle with not much vision to work with, and that gave Jita and Tokyo Tree a lot of time to start pulling in damage. The Pro Lupal able to jump in, lock them down with the taunt as well, and even Spears, who had been stylating previously, was able to come back in and lock them get the pincer off to finish them off. So a bit of an overextension again there from the side of UB, trying to make something happen, trying to continue to force the pressure they managed to accumulate off of that Baron steal. And now we did say before that things were looking a lot closer, but it has definitely gone back in the favor of HBK as they're going to be able to continue split pushing this Vayne and this Heimerdinger, who are just going to become more and more dangerous as the game goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Soul Point is online for this side of H Block, but it looks like Jitta's main job is going to be that tank shred, and he is building for that. A lot of HP built up. He's going to have that hourglass coming in through soon. Stopwatch is also available as Idris is going to be finding himself in a bit of trouble. Now this is Jitta. He's on the backside taking a bunch of damage. Not a lot of damage in so far, but he is going to be living not much longer. Beautiful Stopwatch is going to have him go legendary, and now Brian Zhang is going to be forced ultimate. The ultimate from Mr. Chunks barely misses the Heimerdinger, and in the bot side, Tokyo Tree just finds Freelancer in a 1v1.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Let's see this again. So Tokyo
He couldn't
Tree,
see him. He couldn't see him from the knock ultimate.
I have had that happen to me before, and you know what Freelancer didn't do? I'm pretty sure he could have clicked on the icon. He wouldn't have known who to click on, but it would have been better than just leaving the ability entirely. So that's a bit rough right there. I've had that happen to me before. It is very, very frustrating when the paranoia comes down. You don't know who to get onto in the fight. But either way, very, very rough for Freelancer. He does get picked up. Obviously, Tokyo Tree now, he's got 2 items working on that Rage Blade as well. He does a lot of damage once he's able to get a few autos off. So, yeah, another Shen who's being a little bit bullied right now. Freelancer, with that Titanic Hydra, he does have the Frostfire Gauntlet as well. But against the amount of tank shred this team has, he's just not able to, you know, last long enough to provide too much of a factor in fights.
Yeah, and then Vayne picking up another kill onto this one. Tokyo is quietly having quite a big game. 3-1-7 so far, 200 CS onto the clock. And frankly, Vayne only does get stronger. Now, it is going to be a more difficult game for her. Mr. Chunks is building very tanky. He's not one of the 80 carries who Vayne can easily solo out. There's not really an easy target, not named Corky. But even still, Tokyo has done a fantastic job not dying to all these engages that have been coming out from the side of Yubi.
Yeah, he has been doing an excellent job, and we said before, you know, if he's now looking pretty scary, 3-1-7. He's almost got 3 items, and this push now, I mean, it's going to be a full run up the river now.
Oh no, stun landed, and Mr. Chunks is gone. Spears finds it all.
H Block have gotten to the point where they realize that they can, if it comes into a 5v5, they think they've got it. So, yeah, they're just going to keep going.
Yeah, he spotted on the side. Really smart H Block, making sure you check those flanks, allowing yourself to easy push in. And now you have Jitta, who's going to be in front of this tower. Upgrade still available for an ultimate. And can they really defend this? This is going to be the Brian Zhang using the ultimate. Utility Monster gets his ultimate disrupted. Backline fight. Now here's coming on. This is now the Idris taking a bunch of damage. Forced to walk out, but Freelancer's the first one to drop. Tokyo's finding the auto attack. Kiting out Utility Monster. Utility Monster's going to die. And this tower's not doing enough help as Brian Zhang's going to follow. And Civillock is the only one alive as heals coming out. The autos are coming through. Civillock is going to barely get out on the skin of his teeth. Tower Tank is going to be coming through from the side of Tokyo Tree, and he isn't going to find anything further, but a tower dive, 3 kills, and an inhibitor. Very well done for the side of H Block.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, they had the confidence. They knew that if they went for that dive, they'd gotten to the point where they were so accelerated, the Heimerdinger. All of these champions now just look, you know, really, really pretty fed. And even if they went for that dive under the tower, there really wasn't much that Yubi could do about it. Utility Monster trying to dive in, but he is so far behind at this point that he's not just going to be able to tank up for very long. And they do manage to get the inhib, get themselves a reset off. They do have the opportunity now with this big push in the top and mid to go and set themselves up for the Baron. The soul for them as well is coming up in about a minute's time, so we'll see which one they decide to center themselves onto. But right now, there's not very much that UB can do besides just trying to continue to clear waves and get themselves back into on even footing in the fights.
Yeah, and this is a very tanky Heimerdinger. This in Mountain Soul is going to be even more important than usual because if you notice the Heimerdinger build, he's built up a lot of HP but no resistances, but he'll get a lot of free ones from the Mountain Soul and the shield that comes out, so very difficult to burst through him. And with how much damage Jit has been pouring out and where Spears has been positioning extremely well also, this is very difficult to kill any real targets, as this diving in seems to be as close to suicide as possible, as this front line just isn't big enough to sustain through.
No, and I mean, on top of that, we saw in that turret dive previously that just a quick flash unleashed power from Spears completely one-shot Mr. Chunks right there, so the backline isn't safe either. They are going to go and try to get themselves some pressure onto this deny the soul point. The vision is there from the Scuttle Crab, so... Yeah, here we go.
Ultimate is in. This is going to be the fight. This can easily be the end of it. Dragon already collected up. 2 people on this side. Idris is all by himself. Knockup is going to come through from the Galio Ultimate. Prolupo is here. 3-man taunt. A bunch of people stunned up. The ultimate is coming out from Corki, who's forced to ultimate away. This is a disaster for the side of Yubi as they don't have enough so far. That's going to be Civillock trying to get as much damage out as possible. But Tokyo Tree is too big. He's getting the autos out. He's going to find Civillock. He's going to dodge the taunt. And he's going to pick up a quadra kill as he finds everybody from the enemy team. And the pentakill is found with a flash auto attack. Give this man some credit. Tokyo's popping off.
Let's go. And we saw from start to finish in that fight, as we're going to get ourselves a replay, Tokyo Tree, as that engage comes in, the beautiful 3-man taunt from Prolupo, Tokyo Tree is just able to free hit for almost the entirety of the fight. All of this, Brian Sang tries to walk up to him, but as you can see, all of this aggro is being drawn towards the other members, and he is just going there into the fight. He's got the shield bow as well to keep himself sustained up, and yeah, that's all he needed. One more auto there. Beautiful.
Beautiful. That was a fantastic play from Tokyo. He dodged everything, point blank dodge on the taunt, flash auto over the wall, and now this is a push in. Jitta has the teleport. Is this just going to be the end of the game?
It could well be, but there are some very, very long respawn timers. It's only Brian Sang who looks like he'll be up with Utility Monster shortly following him, and look at the clear that's coming through from these carries. You know, they're not going to have a chance here. This is game.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be close. Upgrade is available for the side of the Heimerdinger. He has used it. And now, there's no autos coming out yet. Respawns are coming in. This is going to be Utility Monster there. Brian's taking a bunch of damage. He's already going to drop the knockup. It's coming through for Utility Monster. Too much damage. 1,000 gold picked up from the Zac. Tokyo is trying to get the autos out. He's trying to hit it. He's trying to sustain, but the knockup's too much, and Utility Monster's going to pick up a double. And man, a lot of gold just flew into this Zac's pockets as he got 2,000 gold a shutdown.
Oh my goodness. And I think I'm starting to build a bit of, a problem with cursing in these games, because I really thought that was going to be it. And to be fair, HBK there deciding to put their attention onto killing Brian Sang yet again, where I'm pretty sure they might have had the window there to just go for the Nexus, but either way, Utility Monster
looking for more. There's no damage in this team fight. This could easily be a disaster. 2 people are already dead. Yubi's trying to find the big stun landed up. Utility Monster doesn't have passive, so he has a bunch of damage. The shield is coming out from the side of the chin, and Idris is going to be forced to die. Mr. Chunks dies on the side. That's going to be so much damage. A 3v5 as the fight's continuing. Idris is going to die. Prolupo is going to die. A double kill came over from Syndra, but it wasn't enough, and this could easily be the Baron. But the Vayne and the Heimerdinger have spawned, so Yubi may not have enough resources to secure it.
I don't want to call it early found, but is this a throw? I mean, it's really, really scary. There is the TPs aren't up at the moment, but there is opportunity for a backdoor. But yeah, you just fed. I mean, you feed a Zac, that's not a problem. But you just fed a Corki as well.
Well, speaking of the throw, this could easily be one. There's no way you can do this, Baron. You have to get out. But now it seems like you may have just leashed it, as Jitta and Pro Tokyo can be there. And there's no way Brian Zhang can defend these minions. He's taking a bunch of damage attempting to do so.
Yeah, he is, and his team are going to be able to come to the rescue and clean this out. And, well, I did say that, UB did have to try to hold out until they were able to get on equal footing in terms of damage in the fight. That is now a 3-item crit build Corki. He's got Muramane. He's got Essence Reaver. He does a lot of damage. And these tanks now with the double Abyssal Mask, that is quite that's a damage-focused item as well. Like, they're going to be able to jump in and tank up quite a lot now. And, I mean, Mr. Chunks as well, he's got the Frozen Heart on deck. UB now, considering they do have a very strong team fight, just with the amount of engage they have, as we said before, and they've got very good positioning in fights. So now, if it does come to a big clash of a 5v5, I'm not sure who's going to take it.
Yeah, but they also are going to have a struggle. There's a lot of disadvantages for UB. They have to try to team fight into a team fight to a team that doesn't have to team fight. Jitta can stay into the sideline and end the game extremely quickly if he chooses to do so. And it looks like the Baron is going to be the setup. And if this is secure, this could easily just be the game. There's no way to stop a Baron push at this point. As now Brian Zhang and Utility Monster are doing their best. It looks like they're going to try to look for a steal if that's where the startup is going to be, as Jitta has already taken his base.
And I don't think HBlock are going to look to flip this again, considering what happened on the last Baron. So instead, we do know that the Soul again is coming up in just under a minute's time, and we do have priority in the mid lane coming out with all of this clear from the side of HBK. UB not wanting to try to contest that 5v4 at the moment. Even with though Freelancer, he does have, I believe, the Stand United. I believe it is available, yes. So and along with the TP, so they could even this up into a 5v5 should they wish to. He is going to go and get himself a base off, but the Dragon doesn't seem to be the point of contention here. It does look like HBlock are just going to be looking to, well, potentially try to run this up and go for another little Aram.
Yeah, that has to be what's the plan. And Civilock has the passive already corrupted up from Corki. The package is going to be available, but Utility Monster already having taken a bunch of damage. 9 seconds on this Mountain Soul. Brian Zhang is positioning fast, but he's going to get stunned up. Spears has found a bunch of damage onto him. As here comes to the engage, that's not going to land onto anyone. Utility Monster was unable to find the back line, and Jitta is already going to get the damage out, and he's dropped. Now that's going to be the flash out from the side of Spears, who's taking a bunch of damage onto the backside. But Tokyo Tree is just finding everybody. He's doing too much damage. This Vayne is just too strong, as he continuously finds these autos that are preventing any real engage. And with 3 bodies dead and a teleports available, this could easily just be the game, as there's no Nexus towers to defend this base. Sell your stocks in UB because they don't have this one in the bag.
Oh my goodness, yeah, and really, really tough for them, having to funnel in to try to deny the soul point, because let's be honest, the soul was also just going to be seen, and they weren't going to be able to win team fights after that, and they funnel in, immediate scatter of the week there coming out from Spears, and after that, as you said, Tokyo Tree again able to free hit in these fights, dodging all of the necessary, CC that he would have to, and it's too hard. I mean, there's so much damage coming out from these carries on the side of HBK that you can lock one of them down, but the other 2 are going to kill you.
Yeah, if anyone ever has to ask where the tree is in Tokyo, as he has had an immaculate game. 12, 2, and 10 on this Vayne, hyper carrying it, taking it to picking up where Jitta left off in the mid game. But this, you cannot expect to win a game when the bot, the mid, and the AD carry have done so much work. And look at the damage charts with Jitta just putting out so much onto this front line.
And I hate to say it, Found, but I think people are going to have to start banning Heimerdinger against HBlock. Oh my goodness, it's so difficult. I mean, when as I said before, like HBlock, they've told us and they've proven it time and time again now that they do have a bit of a champion ocean. So this team proving very, very difficult to draft against when they start bringing out top Heimerdinger that goes 10, 1, and 14. So they're going to be looking like a real... I mean, this is going to bring them, I think, second into the standings thus far, depending on what happens later on in the day. Yeah, so I've just been added that with this win, it is possible for HBlock to, along with BBZ, to be able to contest for first in the league thus far. So this is really going to shake up the standings after this happening. This is going to make things spicy as we move into playoffs. I'm really excited to see what happens, fam.
Yeah, absolutely. What a fantastic game. That was the second game of this day. HBlock showing us that even gods can bleed, taking down the first game off of UB. One of the rare occasions we even see them lose. But don't touch that browser, because right after this break, we're going to have an interview with one of the victorious members of HBlock. And frankly, I cannot wait to see what these guys are going to have to say picking up such a big win.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, Chris Edgeworth here with another interview, and this time I am joined by Jita from the victorious Team H Block. And how are you feeling after the win?
Feeling pretty good. I remember last time I wasn't supposed to be in the interviewer, but now I had to step it up.
You got to represent the team.
You
Make sure
know,
you bring the appropriate flame and banter at the right times. So let's talk about this draft then. Let's get right into it. What were your thoughts on the draft that you folks pulled out? Obviously, you did get the spicy Heimerdinger pick, and Tokyo Tree, though, obviously the other star of the show here with the pentakill on Vayne. What were your thoughts on the draft that you folks opted into in this, and what you ended up against?
I thought that draft was free. They picked a bunch of tanks. They left Heimer open for me. People don't know that that's my one trick because I don't pull it out that often. And when we saw that they banned fucking Camille, we knew it was gonna be an easy Heimer pick. And then it was also a free Vayne game. I guess because fucking Flora left, they didn't think that we could play Vayne anymore. So they made a mistake leaving that up.
Yeah, you showed them that you definitely have a couple of tricks in the draft to pull out, and definitely this Heimerdinger top, not something that we've seen a lot of here in Friend or Foe, and you were absolutely punishing Freelancer in the early game with it, especially Utility Monster ending up a little oopsie early on in the game to his gank. What were your thoughts on how this game went for you on Heimerdinger with how much you were able to pop off in this game?
I think Utility Monster was trolling. That guy was kind of fucking just running around on Zac and inting. The Shen, I swear that guy didn't know how to play Shen because he was just ult in front of everyone's face. Like, I canceled his ult like 3 times and he still ulted in my face. And then he never built MR against me. So yeah, I don't really know what they had going on. Like,
Yeah, one other thing I want to highlight that was really good was Idris was really good at shutting them down just with the pressure that Paranoia was able to put out. It seemed like every time this guy pushed a button that Yubi was cowering, afraid of basically everything. It wasn't just that they were worried about Idris. They were more worried also about like all of you folks could be anywhere at any time. And even though they invested a lot of their gold and energy into trying to get vision, I don't think that they ever felt truly safe anywhere on the map.
yeah, I remember in their interviews they said that they would track our jungler from an early ward. So we had to make sure that they felt scared no matter where they went because they were talking all that shit about us.
Yeah, make sure you infest their nightmares. You know, that's why you picked the Nocturne. You know, full nightmare comp.
Of
So
course.
this was an awesome win. What's great about this win also is that you were able to take one off on broadcast to note, but take one off of Universal Basic Income. So now it opens the pathway for possibly yourself or even Blue Bayou Zoo to move into that top spot at the end of the regular season. Tomorrow you're actually going to be going against Blue Bayou Zoo, and then also you'll be finishing out the last week against skill based and also Team Asworth. How are you feeling about the possibility of this happening now that you've gotten the biggest hurdle out of the way?
Honestly, the rest of the shit is gonna be easy. Like, we thought today was gonna be easy too. I don't know. BBZ kind of they only won against us because I picked the wrong runes on Camille. I had Dark Harvest and we had a sub mid laner. I think for the rest of the teams, it's gonna be a walk in the park. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, well, congratulations for this win against Yumi. That was definitely big. It's shaking up the final standings for the end of the season for a lot of people. It's going to put a lot more pressure on all the teams to step up and to solidify their spot as we get ready to settle into playoffs. So congratulations, Team H Block. Congrats, Jita. Before we step away, any final thoughts, any shout outs, any banter you hadn't had an opportunity to get out?
I would just like to shout out our coach Vatan. Also, I would like to talk about Fang over Fang, who put in the power rankings that we go 0-2 this week. We will be reversing that prediction and be going 2-0.
There you go, Brendan.
That's all.
Brendan, you're on notice. So, but start thinking about what's your fees going to be when you prove them entirely wrong by going 2-0, and we'll submit that for you. So, thanks, Jita, for this interview. Congratulations, and folks, we're going to take a short break. Then we'll be back with Game 3. So don't go anywhere.